and there is no basis upon which to file any criminal charges against the officer involved. The investigation has determined that Officer Zane Struss reasonably believed that the decedent, 20-year-old Xavier Arnold, presented an imminent risk of death or serious bodily injury to himself and to others. This incident began as officers patrolling Center City, Allentown in marked police vehicles observed what appeared to be a physical altercation between two men, one later identified as Xavier Arnold, and a woman. That altercation occurred near the area of Linden Street and North 8th Street, somewhat east of the intersection. I would say about less than a quarter of a block away from the intersection on the north side of Linden Street. Mr. Arnold apparently saw the officers' vehicles on Linden Street. There were two of them. One made a turn and proceeded north on 8th Street. The other was occupied by Officer Struss, and I'll indicate more of what occurred then. As Arnold apparently saw the officers' vehicles, he began to jog away, first west on Linden Street and then southbound on 8th. The other man, who had a bloody face, approached Officer Struss's vehicle and told him that Arnold had just pistol whipped him. And the woman told Officer Struss to be careful because Arnold had a gun. Arnold was known by name to both the man and the woman who had been involved in the altercation and had been the victim apparently of a pistol whipping. Officer Struss followed Arnold first in his patrol vehicle and later on foot, southbound on 8th Street. Officer Struss actually made a left-hand turn into southbound 8th Street. He was unable to proceed in his vehicle because of traffic. He pulled it to the curb just south of the intersection of 8th and Linden Street and parked it in a southerly direction, and he then gave chase on foot to Mr. Arnold. This foot chase was recorded by both public and private video cameras, and I want to thank City Center for its cooperation in making video available to us for purposes of this investigation. Other Allentown police officers responded to the reports, but that response was shortly after shots were fired. Officer Struss gave clear commands to Arnold to drop his gun, but Arnold refused to comply. And as both men took cover on Maple Street near a building wall and pillars, Arnold raised his gun and pointed it at Struss. This investigation has been unable to determine with certainty who fired first, but it appears in the video to be almost simultaneous. Arnold fired 4 times. His bullets struck Struss once, struck a passing vehicle, shattering the rear passenger window, and struck and shattered a storefront window on the west side of 8th Street. Arnold was firing from east to west in the alley street of Maple Street. Officer Struss fired multiple times and shot Arnold 4 times. Although officers and emergency medical services provided CPR at the scene and other treatment, Mr. Arnold was pronounced dead at Lehigh Valley Hospital shortly after his arrival. Mr. Arnold was not legally permitted to possess a firearm because of a prior record and was on probation for illegal possession of a different firearm, not the one that he possessed that evening. He was, in the law, a person not to possess. There was also a warrant outstanding for his arrest on a probation violation arising from that earlier charge. How Arnold was able to obtain a firearm that was used in this shooting remains under investigation. In the video, you will observe one of the Allentown police officers remove the 9mm Glock semi-automatic pistol from Arnold's hand and place it on the sidewalk away from him. You also see that it was later circled for evidence purposes. Pennsylvania law regarding the use of deadly force by a police officer is governed by 18 Pennsylvania Consolidated Statutes, Section 508, Use of Force in Law Enforcement. As it applies to this situation, a police officer is justified in using deadly force when he reasonably believes that such force is necessary to prevent death or serious bodily injury to himself or to other persons. The video compilation you're about to see will show that Officer Struss was unquestionably justified because Arnold clearly endangered Officer Struss and several other persons that night. Arnold's conduct alone created the circumstances for his own demise. There is no evidence that any other officer discharged his gun, and no other officer is subject to any prosecution arising out of this incident. First Assistant District Attorney Gavin Holohan will now take you through some of the surveillance video to show what occurred that night. I will indicate to you that some of it is graphic. Some of it has been intentionally blurred to protect the privacy of Mr. Arnold. Gavin?
Thank you.
You want to do this up here or where?
This video compilation you're about to see is not a strict chronological record of events. It's more like a replay of events shown from different camera angles to provide a clear depiction of the incident. The compilation is graphic. The privacy of the decedent has been protected. The first view is from a camera at the corner of 8th and Maple Streets. This camera looks primarily west and north. Initially, Mr. Arnold is seen in the upper right of the frame. He's wearing light blue pants and a dark blue hooded sweatshirt. Officer Zane Struss can be seen pursuing him. After Arnold and Struss leave the frame, they turn east on Maple Street. And at that point, I'll ask Michael to stop the video. I want you to watch the back passenger side window of the black sport utility vehicle that is driving north on 8th Street. Immediately after that, I draw your attention to the plate glass window on the far left in the building across 8th Street. Both windows are shattered by bullets fired by Arnold from east to west direction and towards Struss while Arnold is on the Maple Street sidewalk. The next view is from a camera on Maple Street facing west. Just as Arnold rounds the corner and before any of the shots have been fired. Audio is included in this portion of the video. You will observe the black sport utility vehicle enter the top of the frame from the left, driving north on 8th Street. As shots are fired, muzzle flash from Arnold's gun is visible. During this exchange of gunfire, Arnold is struck and falls to the ground. We've stopped the video before he falls to the ground. The following two videos occur seconds later when responding officers arrive and remove a 9mm Glock semi-automatic handgun from Arnold's left hand. Finally, you'll see Struss's uniform shirt and his protective vest, which were damaged when one of the bullets fired by Arnold grazed Struss's abdomen. I think we're prepared to play the video one more time through without interruption and without narration.
Thank you, Gavin. Questions?
District Attorney, after Mr. Arnold was shot, did he die on scene? Was he?
We're told by the forensic pathologist who performed the autopsy that one of the shots was rapidly fatal.
Okay.
I believe that he was likely dead at the scene. We didn't show it, but the officers did perform CPR. Medical personnel, EMS people came to the scene and they tried to aid him and took him to the hospital. He was pronounced dead basically upon his arrival.
Do you know how long it was until the officer took the gun out of the hand, and then how long it was until the CPR began? Is there like a timeline that you can share?
Seconds. I don't know, with specificity, but it wasn't long.
It was rapid, within a couple of minutes at least, that they were.
That was
They were right
less
there.
than a couple of minutes.
Okay,
But I will tell you that CPR was likely ineffective.
thank you.
According to the forensic pathologist, one of the shots entered Mr. Arnold's eye. In the opinion of the pathologist, it was rapidly fatal. It caused disruption of cartilage and brain matter, and it shattered his brain stem. So he likely collapsed and died, probably before he reached the ground.
Was Is there any indication as to what the incident specifically is? Obviously, the victim, one of the victims said he was pistol whipped. Was that robbery, burglary? Could you characterize the nature of that?
It wasn't a robbery, it was a dispute.
Okay.
That's all I'm prepared to say about it.
What's Officer Struss's status now, and how long has he been with the department?
He has been on administrative leave. I don't know, Chief Roca, do you know how long he's been with the department?
About 3 years.
3 years. And that was paid leave, I assume, right? Paid.
Yes.
Yeah, that's correct.
It's customary that under these circumstances, any officer involved is put on administrative leave. In my opinion, what you've seen in the video makes it unquestionably clear that he acted appropriately under the circumstances.
Do you know how long until he's back on patrol, or?
Just a conclusion of everything that we need to do departmentally.
Is he going through counseling or anything because of, this is a traumatic incident?
There's certain
obviously.
requirements that our officers have to do when they're involved in a lethal force situation. So yes.
Okay.
Any other next steps that we should know about or let people know comes after this, or?
Well, my investigation is concluded. We've reached our conclusion. We are going to continue the investigation to see how it is that, or how it was that Mr. Arnold obtained the firearm that you've seen. Obviously, because of his prior record, he was not permitted to have a firearm. We do not believe he purchased it himself. We think it's likely a straw purchase, but we haven't determined who performed that.
And will the findings of that investigation into the gun purchase be made public at that time? Or?
If we make an arrest, yeah. It's only appropriate for me to comment when we file charges, not with respect to what's going on in the investigation. Okay? All right, thank you all.